Hello, this is Thursday's News. Thank you for joining us. In this edition, Family Protection Act amended, acquittal requirements met, and inaugural Pepsi 9s kicks off. The social consequences of cheap alcohol contributing to violence, crime, and antisocial behavior in Papua New Guinean communities was highlighted in today's parliament sitting by member for Goroka Open Aye Tambua. The Open member called on the government to set up a parliamentary committee to ensure proper policies, regulations, and controls are put on cheap alcohol. The member for Goroka Open, Aye Tambua, during question time in Parliament today raised concerns on the accessibility of cheap alcohol in the country, particularly in his electorate. Tambua called on the government to establish a parliamentary committee to ensure proper policies, regulation and control are put on cheap alcohol that are so easily accessible to many in the community, majority being underage drinkers.
Now, can beer. Kan wine beer, kan all cheap beer stuff in Salatla, country blame me, especially the province blame me Goroka. Now maybe regime issue last sitting, now get me like regime, but me like asking Prime Minister, enough by you me, set him up one block committee, the parliament look this issue block cheap beer inside the country blame me.
Prime Minister Marape responded positively to the MP's concerns and assured the House that a parliamentary committee will be set up to address issues concerning the sale and distribution of cheap alcohol in the country.
The committee that he wants us to set up to look into the issue on cheap alcohol and where it is coming from, we'll set this committee up so that it can get going to, just like we've set the public sector reform committee that Parliament has, a committee on the cheap alcohol and consumption of alcohol in our country can be looked at, so that they assist us with a better policy at arm's length from the executive government and for our consideration.
Minister for Justice in today's parliament sitting presented 5 bills for acts to amend. Among them, a bill for an act to amend the Family Protection Act 2013. This amendment addresses key areas of improvement noted by relevant entities in the referral process in assisting survivors of domestic violence, including law enforcement authorities. The Minister for Justice, Brian Kramer, in Parliament today presented a bill for an act to amend the Family Protection Act of 2013. The bill addresses increase in penalty provisions for domestic violence, while a new offense has been included in the current reform, which is aggravated domestic violence, the penalty for which is much higher than the penalty for domestic violence. With this new provision, a person who commits domestic violence in a particular circumstance may be charged with aggravated domestic violence. It will not be a defense that the defendant has paid an amount of money or given any valuable consideration to the complainant. Simply put, the new bill disallows compensation of any survivor of domestic violence to be seen as settlement. In presenting the bill, Justice Minister Brian Kramer emphasized that the state can only do so much and challenged leaders and members of communities to intervene and adopt better ways to address the issue of domestic violence and to look for more preventative measures.
That the state can intervene and do only so much. However, there are many facets of this issue that need to be critically investigated to arrest the problem. We need academia, practitioners to be working closely to research and understand the underlying root of the problem in PNG context. We can legislate increased penalties, include new solutions in law, but it is not the only solution to addressing domestic violence. These are just bandages to the wound. There is a need for leadership in changing this vicious cycle of violence.
East Sepik Province Governor and co-chair of the Special Parliamentary Committee of Gender-Based Violence, Alan Baird, commended the Minister for Justice in getting the bill into Parliament today.
So on behalf of the women and children, I am indeed very proud and very grateful that this House has seen fit to bring important amendments to this legislation. so that our women and children can recognize that we do indeed care for the sufferings that they face at the hands of perpetrators who would otherwise get away.
And also in Parliament today, Mining Minister Johnson Tuke announced plans for an alluvial mining act that will be tabled in the next session of Parliament. The minister's announcement came in response to concerns raised by Governor for Northern Province regarding the participation of foreigners in the activities of alluvial mining that is supposed to be reserved only for Papua New Guineans. Northern Governor Gary Juffa, in a supplementary question to the Minister for Mining, expressed concerns regarding the participation of foreigners in the activities of alluvial mining in Papua New Guinea.
Minister of Mining, you may have also this alluvial mining activity reserve law Papua New Guineans. But people are looking also plenty of foreigners now we work come inside this activity. Now only involving more yet this business. Now, plenty of these foreigners, buy them gold, one price, where no fair, all Papua New Guinean operators inside the country. Now, some time you go finish where me work one time you law, one bill where me can pass him law, where me can enforce him all this law so that this business and by start handle Papua New Guinea that's all.
Minister for Mining Johnson Tuke clarified that alluvial mining in the country does not have a stand-alone policy. However, it is a mining activity and does fall under the Main Mining Act. The mining minister said the need for a stand-alone act is recognized and thus will ensure an alluvial mining act is tabled in the next session of Parliament.
Process blogan. This morning, me find him out also. Law states all now. Me like talking Papua New Guinea also. Alluvial mining activity, one business where reserved lo Papua New Guineans. This let me talk again. Inside law this act, one law policy me put him inside. Lo make him all Papua New Guineans involved plenty, Mr. Speaker. Lo this activity.
Minister Tuke said the new act will ensure that only Papua New Guineans will participate in alluvial mining activities into the future. You're watching TVWAN News. After the break, acquittal requirements met and operating rooms out of order.
Our world is changing. Digital transformation is revolutionizing and transforming economies. As data needs evolve, it takes a trusted local partner to manage your data securely, stored in country in real time. At Dataco's globally accredited data center, we connect Papua New Guinea to the digital world. With nationwide coverage, Dataco offers the highest level of data security 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Start your digital transformation journey with a trusted, cost-effective and secured local digital partner. Dataco. Yes, you'll be covered.
Welcome back. St. John is the only emergency ambulance service available to the public and thousands of Papua New Guineans. The National St. John Council Chair Dame Jean Kekedo said this in response to the Minister for Health Jelta Wong's statement in Parliament, asserting that St. John Ambulance had not acquitted monies received from the Health Department last year.
Dame Jean explained in a media statement that in 2021, St. John did not receive any funding from the Department of Health. She said the 600,000 kina funding received from the NDOH was in 2020 were expended in full and reports were provided to the NDOH in 2020. Dame Jean said the Department of Health confirmed to the St. John management that no further acquittal reports were due to the department. In 2021, St. John responded to more than 13,800 incidents and over 80% of these patients received entirely free services. This is reflected through quarterly reports submitted to the Department of Health. Although St. John Ambulance has centers in 6 locations and its services cover approximately 1/3 of the nation's population, around 3.5 million people, and provides aeromedical reach to all provinces. Dame Jean stated that having a centralized emergency organization coordinate emergency response is sensible and well standard. Contrary to Minister Wong's statement about not putting all eggs in one basket, Dame Jean said that putting all the eggs in one basket can save money, be more efficient, and saves lives too. Dame Jean said the National Council is committed to be the most compliant entity in the health sector. Thus, in 2019, they engaged KPMG and have worked with other leading accounting firms over the last 5 years to ensure its financial processes are world-class. Frida Kana, TVWAN News.
The Royal Australasian College of Surgeons yesterday presented much-needed surgical equipment to the Engau Memorial Provincial Hospital. Worth around 300,000 kina, the equipment was received by Morobe Provincial Health Authority CEO Dr. Binga and Morobe PHA Director Curative Health Services Dr. James.
A small ceremony was hosted on Wednesday within the new pediatric ward of the Engau Memorial Provincial Hospital. Surgical equipment worth over 300,000 kina was presented to the Morobe Provincial Health Authority. The drill set was an initiative of the Royal Australasian College of Surgeons in partnership with global medical technology company ConMed. Morobe PHA Director Curative Health Services Dr. Stephen James said the top-of-the-range equipment will be handed over to the orthopedic department, the unit that deals with the corrections of deformities of bones or muscle.
I'm very privileged and I'm very happy that Rex, Australasian College of Surgeons, can provide us this with the equipment. The one that we have is more than about 20 years.
Dr. James, who is also an orthopedist, said the drill set will be used in the fixation of fractures, where implants will be attached to bone fragments to reduce the fracture and prevent movement. Dr. James said the new modern equipment will now make their jobs easier. He, however, added that the operating theatre will be utilizing the drill set in the absence of a computerized tomography or CT scan.
Scans, x-rays, those are things that you need to use. Currently, we don't have the luxury of such things, but then we can't wait for such. We have to improvise.
Antoinette Poivi, TV1 News.
Out of 4 operating rooms at the Engau Memorial Provincial Hospital, only 1 is currently being utilized. Equipment and staffing are the main challenges that prevent Morobe's health workers from effectively performing their duties.
The Engau Memorial Provincial Hospital, built in 1963, currently serves over 675,000 residents of Morobe and acts as a referral hospital for approximately 2 million people of the Mombasa region. Unfortunately, capacity and capability limitations hamper the effective delivery of health services to the population. On Wednesday, members of the media were taken on a tour of Engau's operating theatre, where they observed that out of the 4 operating rooms, only 1 is currently being used. Air condition problems, rundown equipment, and low manpower have been plaguing this critical section of the hospital for years, with the level of neglect evident through the damaged walls and loose floor tiles. The media were told that the medical staff work with what they have, even when they run out of basic consumables like gloves and gauze. This was the same sentiment expressed by the Morobe Provincial Health Authority Director, Curative Health Services, Dr. Stephen James, prior to the tour. Dr. James highlighted that they have been improvising to care for the patients with the aging and worn-out equipment that they have.
Now, with the current change in care, some parts of the world have gone forward already. We are still lagging behind. doing POPs and doing tractions when you go to the orthopedic ward. You see plasters, ropes. Those are time normal issues before. We have a lot of gaps. There's a lot of hurdles that will prevent that. And manpower is one of them. Training is one of them. Equipment is one of them. And then the capacity. So you imagine for the last 20 years or so, those things haven't improved. And you look at the population that has grown.
With the Engau redevelopment that is still underway, courtesy of the PNG Australia partnership, the operating theatre staff are looking forward to moving into a new and improved facility. Rita Jeffrey, TVWAN News.
And now the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, Yokina was buying $0.2775, $0.3811 Australian dollars, $0.2368 euro, and 31.14 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, all closed higher except gold and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower and ASX closed higher, and all ordinaries closed higher as well. And that ends the news segment in sports. Hunter's final preparation and inaugural Pepsi Nines kicks off. Welcome back. With only 7 days to go before the SPPNG Hunters launch their 2022 Host Plus Cup season next Wednesday, Coach Matthew Church is quite satisfied with the overall team effort so far. The launch night will coincide with the official announcement of the final 26 playing squad for the 2022 season.
After almost 3 long months of rigorous pre-season training, the PNG Hunters' final 26-man squad is pretty much locked in with the official announcement at the 2022 season launch scheduled for next Wednesday at the Oil Search National Football Stadium, Port Moresby. Without letting anything out of the bag as yet, Hunters head coach Matt Church said he is really happy on how the team is progressing, with a lot of returning senior players also doing a lot of coaching inside the group and helping each other out, which he is very happy about. Church also highlighted some defensive and offensive techniques that let the team down in 2021, which they need to improve on moving forward.
Something that Paul Aiton's been working with the group. He's our defence coach this year, so he's been working strongly with them and keeping them accountable. And all the boys have improved their techniques, but also their defensive pattern movements.
On the squad to be announced next week, although all current 30 players have ticked all the boxes, they can only take 26.
Yeah, so we're going to take 26 down to Queensland. So we've got a squad of 30, so that means 4 guys will unfortunately not make it on the plane, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to be available for the Hunters in the future. We'll keep an eye on them where they're back home playing Digicel Cup, and if need be at a later date, if we have to send someone home through injury or poor performance or poor attitude, then we will do so and replace them with someone that's been in camp before.
Church said although they lost a number of their most senior players this year in terms of leadership and captaincy, there are a lot of young guys who are returning players and have really stood out and ready to put their hands up. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
2020 Digicel Cup Rookie of the Year and 2021 PNG Hunters debutant Judah Ribu is ready to step up another level in the Queensland Cup as he looks forward to the 2022 Host Plus Cup season, which kicks off in March. Rimbu has been putting a lot of effort into his training and is very confident to make the final cut when the team is announced next Wednesday.
19-year-old Southern Highlander and former Schoolboys Rugby League product Judah Rimbu made his ISC debut in 2021 with the PNG Hunters, starting from the bench. Rimbo admitted 2021 season was a baptism of fire for him, but very thankful with the opportunity to play at the next highest level, the Queensland Cup, which is the second tier to the NRL. He said he is happy with the precision training and thanked coach Matt Church and his assistants for working on his game. He added with more confidence he'll use the experience from last year to step up this year.
Last year was my experience playing in ISC. It's really tough too, but I pushed through and I think I played 15 games. Not really a good minute, but yeah, I made a 2022 squad game, so I'm looking forward to playing my better game this year, I think.
Although they'll be missing the experienced halves and his seniors from last year in Arce Boas and Charlie Simon, Rimbo said he's ready for the challenge.
Yeah, look, the first halves, they came, like I said, Charlie, they set their standards and go. It's for us, it's a new era for us to step in. Either coach and coaching staff give us the call to step in. We are ready for going, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I think I'm ready to wear the number 6 jersey all throughout the year. I'm ready for it.
Terry Longwood, TVWAN Sports.
The inaugural Daddy Toka Pepsi League Challenge kicked off today, featuring 32 teams from Motukoita villages as well as teams from Suburban League.
The reason behind inaugural Daddy Toka Pepsi 9's Rugby League Challenge is to promote the code of rugby league in Motukoita and the Central Province. The tournament, in its inaugural year of 2022, started its 3-day tournament today in Port Moresby's Konedobu Oval, where 32 teams are taking part in the event and consisting of 8 pools with 4 teams each in each pool. The 32 teams consist of 22 teams from Motukoita, Hiri East and West, and teams from as far as Taurama and Joyce Bay. Tournament director Vaieka Vani said, with so much interest shown from various parts of NCD and Central, they were only able to take 32 teams, which are the pioneers of the inaugural Daddy Toka 9's Rugby League tournament. He said watching the teams play, great level of skills were displayed on the first day of the competition. He added that also participating and lifting the level of the game were players from Suburban League competitions, Port Moresby Rugby League, as well as players from top-tier competitions in the country such as the Digicel Cup and the SP Hunters. The tournament will see its grand final be played on Saturday, where it will end with presentations and the winners to walk away with top prize money of $26,500 on the day. Godwin Eki, TV1 Sports.
And that ends the news tonight. Remember to apply the following simple measures to prevent transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water. Cough or sneeze into your elbow, and exercise social distancing. If you are feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance. Pleasant viewing. Bye for now.